Welcome to a new episode of My Data Guest. Today with us we have a really special guest, Alexandra Spalato. She's, from what I can see from your LinkedIn profile, because it was really complex to have a big picture of what you do, but you are a software engineer, and I see that you're helping people automating workflows and getting into AI and understand what AI actually means. And for this special occasion, actually, I would like to ask you what you do, because as I said, I have the feeling that you do a lot of different things. So maybe I give you the stage and you can give a brief introduction of what's your job.
Okay, so first, thanks for having me as guest. It's really a pleasure and an honor. And yes, what I do, I think now, primarily I become an entrepreneur, which means wearing many hats. So formerly my background, yes, is in software engineering. I've done a lot of front end. I've been also developer relation engineer and speaker. And when the AI appear, I say, okay, I have to jump into this train. And with AI, there is automation. And then I became an NA10 ambassador because it's one of the best software here to create automation. And I think one of the only ones that are entrepreneur friendly and developer friendly, because it's engineering and you can have code, etc. So it's a really great tool. Then I became a YouTuber by necessity because it was the best way to attract clients and have authority and have awareness, basically, because I didn't know anything about marketing. So I went on YouTube. So it's a big journey too. Then, yes, I run an agency about consulting. So consulting, I think, is the best way to instead of trying to sell a solution to a company because we don't know what they needed, interviewing the stakeholders and the employees to see where are the bottlenecks, about where are they losing time and where are they losing money, and from there come back with a diagnostic and then to provide solutions that bring immediate ROI. So this is what I do. And I also wanted to run a community. So I created a community, but my YouTube is not big enough to make it really successful. And now I joined forces with Mark Kashef and the community named Early AI Adopters, which is one of the best, I think, because you can find anything, whether it's business, because there is consulting, or even machine learning and everything. And so I do live builds there every week and I enjoy it and participate in this community. So yes, it's a lot of things.
Yeah, it is. That's why when I checked your profile, I was like, okay, it's going to be very difficult to create a summary of what you do.
And I want to create SaaS products too. So I think that's my ultimate goal, because if I define myself, I would say I'm a creative. At the root, the root of myself is that.
Makes sense.
Yes, and that's why I become a software engineer, that I learn coding, because it's a creation tool, and now we have AI. So that's thing.
All right. Yeah, thanks for all the details. I went through the process of creating a couple of questions for this podcast, and I was looking into what you do, your profile, and also the chat that we had last time, the private chat that we had before this podcast. And for me, maybe the best way to start the podcast is if you can share what's the last thing you have implemented with NA10, which is the tool of your choice, if I understood correctly. What's the last thing that you have implemented?
The last thing is the most interesting. I would say one of the most interesting is I need to do cold outreach, to get clients on LinkedIn. And so I took a tool like Reach, and after the trial, I say, okay, I can build it myself. And I built something with an API named Unipile, which reproduce LinkedIn to send DMs, ask for connection, etc. And I build that for myself. And I'm planning to do a SaaS using that, because there is a lot of products like that, but they're all quite expensive. And also we need something that really take care of people not be banned, because LinkedIn is really against that. But perhaps not the best to talk about, because this one doesn't use AI at all. This is one of the most advanced, and surprisingly, it doesn't use AI. It's just automation. I want to use AI if I make a SaaS to write icebreakers, to personalize the message. But all the outreach process, which is quite complex. It's a complex automation. Don't use AI, it just use APIs. So yeah.
This is very critical because I got into creating a small, very simple automation flow for LinkedIn, where I was literally, if I remember correctly, creating a post out of some RSS of this podcast.
Okay.
So I was creating, it was a really simple automation. And the interesting thing is that while I was going through the rules about what you can't do and what you can do with the LinkedIn API, there are a lot of things that you can't do, and you have to be careful because they're gonna ban your account. So I think it's very critical topic.
Yeah, it's very critical. But first, you cannot have access to the API. It's for enterprise very, very difficult. So that's why there is this APIs like Unipile. Also, I know guys that have created one which is open source. And then yourself, you have to be careful to not send too much messages, to mimic also human behaviors, making random wait before each message. So I was mimicking what A-Reach does. Once a connection is accepted, then you go and you like a post, and then you wait 3 hours, and then you send the first outreach message.
Yeah.
And this type of things. And what I want to build is something with human in the loop, where people will approve the message and modify them instead of sending everything automatically, and keeping things really under the radar, being very conservative, so people cannot be.
Yeah. Is it correct that if you use the LinkedIn API, so the official way of creating posts on LinkedIn through, I don't remember the name of this service that LinkedIn provides, but if you use the official one, you cannot do anything, right? Everything.
I don't know.
You cannot, for
honest,
instance, send messages.
I didn't try the official one to create posts, because basically what I have created is more for me for the moment, and what I was create a post, finally I can do it manually. I didn't automate this part for the moment. I should, but it was not urgent. But I was really needing to do outreach. I have another one also, which is, for example, when you do a viral post and you wake up in the morning with 200 DMs. Okay, it's nice, but you have to send them.
Yeah.
So I created an automation for that check if you are connected. If you're not connected, you ask a message.
Using this tool that you said,
yes,
the Unipile.
Unipile too. I built that also for myself, and it was nice because it was a woman that contacted me. She's a founder too, and she just found my tool and it solved our problem. So that's nice too.
Nice. This is really interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that catch my attention when I checked your profile for the first time, when actually Rosaria told me about you, is that you were working as DevRel, essentially, developer relationship. How did it happen? Because when did you do it, first of all? It was some years ago, right?
Yeah, it was from September 2024.
Okay. How did you find that position, and what were you looking for? Because it's also, at least in Europe, I think it's not easy to run into a DevRel. For a while, I thought that many of the DevRel that I knew were coming from US.
Okay, I didn't know that. Oh, yes, I have a story about that. The first point, I never wanted to be an employee. So I was a freelancer, and that's in my DNA. I'm a bit unemployable, I don't searching that. But at this moment, I was not, I didn't have YouTube, I didn't have the marketing knowledge and all what I have learned now. I had some project cancel in 2022 and say, okay, I have to find a job because the situation was not good, to be honest, at this moment. DevRel came naturally. I've been asked to be DevRel before knowing what it was. Okay, because I was already a speaker. I've been speaking at Gatsby Day when Gatsby was missing, and I created a product. So I did many things like that. And at this time, Gatsby was searching for a head of DevRel. So I tried to enter there, but you don't go from freelance to head of DevRel. And then I was living in Mallorca, and I met Debbie O'Brien. She's at Microsoft. She's Miss Playwright, and we had a lunch, not for just to meet, because we are women in tech and we were living in the same city. And at the end say, oh, Storyblock is searching for somebody, etc. And I sent my resume this day to them, and there was Prismic too, and I enter immediately. So I never, in my life, I never searched for a job. I never I don't know this path because it's not what I was searching for. So finally it happened. Storyblock is a CMS. I was coming from CMS. I had a background in headless WordPress. I was a specialist of headless. So I was a speaker already. So everything was fitting together. I was not searching. I think if you search for a job because you need a job, and you send things everywhere, so it doesn't fit. When you want an experience, well, I was needing a job because it was a special situation, but it's not my natural path, and so it came to me. Basically, it was obvious, so I was in immediately, and it ended up when it was needed to end because it's not my nature neither, and I had to jump in the AI automation train.
Right.
I become, yes, real speaker because I travel a lot, and basically as DevRel, what I was doing most of the time was speaking at conferences. So it was a nice experience. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, this is mostly like a question that I personally had, because it was really curious to see that you were working as DevRel.
Yeah, but my profile is not the normal one of people that are in a career and going to one job to another. My profile is very special. I'm an entrepreneur by nature that was needing a job at the moment, and okay, I found that, and then I move again to my real path.
All right. Speaking of the things that you do and your job, how did you start looking into and especially why N8N? Because there are also some other players around, or maybe big players like Zapier and so forth. So why N8N?
Okay, so when I jump into AI, first, of course, I wanted to do everything by code because it's my background, and you are very snob with no code when you come for code, etc. And it was quite overwhelming. So first I tried Make, because Make was the thing at this moment, 1 year and a half ago, and I hated it because as you cannot, now I think they have a code node, but at this time they didn't have a code node. And so you have to use, I don't know how many nodes, to manipulate data, or even the functions that they propose. They propose something that is different from JavaScript, and there is not syntax highlighting, so it's really a pain to use for me. And then I discovered another platform named Pipedream that I really loved because it's developer oriented. And I did my first videos with Pipedream. And then I heard about N8N. They even contacted me. They were searching for developers, but I was not searching for a job. And then I see that N is open source. You can self-host it, so it's almost free if you use it like that. The community is amazing. They just had also the AI agent. So it was just the beginning of the big rise, of N8N. It was in 1 year ago. And I tried it and never looked back. It was a good choice. I think, there are a lot of things that make their success, because there is just open source, obviously. It's an advantage. The product is great. But yes, for example, Pipedream is great too. But yeah, the open source and the vibe, the community, I think they are doing really the things in a great way. Yeah, that's why. And then everything works on YouTube, the community. I became ambassador, and it's a really nice tool that is friendly for engineering. It's really an engineering tool, but I see people that are entrepreneurs that are not engineers that can learn it and use it, because at the end it's like a new syntax. Finally, the engineering thinking is what is underneath everything, and all the rest is syntax finally.
Yeah, I think community is probably the key word of what you said. I've seen this in many other successful projects where when they nail the community part, they have a lot of success, because the community is creating a lot of synergies with the company itself, with the people behind the company who maybe have like an initial idea, maybe a very successful idea, but they cannot really put it in practice if they don't have a strong community that's going to validate it. And I've seen this in many projects, and this is probably one of the main keyword of N8N. If we stay on this topic for a second, you said that you are an N8N ambassador. Can you explain what does it mean exactly?
Okay, so as an ambassador, you need to make 3 events a year, but you are there, yes, to promote the product, So I do my YouTube videos, I can write articles, I support the product. And in exchange, I have also exposure opportunities. We are the first to know what is happening with an. And I have also my self-hosted account. I have an enterprise license, so I can test all the features. I have a pro version on the cloud account, etc. It's really nice. Also, I'm asked, for example, I was speaker in Berlin in the conference, and I was paid for that. So it's nice. I was also supporting in a hackathon in Barcelona. I was paid for that too. So many opportunities and things, and the program is really nice. By the way, it's open now, so if some people want to apply, it's the moment, because then when they have enough people, it closes for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they really offer a lot of interesting opportunities. And there is also the partner program. Now it's not open, but luckily I entered there, and they are going to have an exam for that. And I think also certainly courses to enter. Then you are listed in their official page. And now it's not promoted, but even from that, I had 2 big leads that didn't, I didn't close them, but I think being there can be very, very powerful, especially with the exposures that NA10 has now.
Right. Why do you think NA10? This is a question that I wanted to ask like later in the podcast, but since we're really deep into this topic now, why do you think that NA10, because we said something about the community, which is probably one of the most interesting thing to say about these projects, but why do you think NA10 in some sense made it? Because there were some other projects, for instance, bigger projects, and I have my opinion why I did it.
Okay.
But I want to hear your opinion in terms of why do you think that NA10 became such a easy and smooth tool that everyone like fall in love with, because it's no matter what you do, if you try NA10 a couple of seconds, you're like, okay, I like it. Even if I know nothing, I like it. But with some other tools, you don't really have the same feeling. What's your opinion?
I have not tried except Make and Pipedream.
Make is a good example, for instance, to compare it with NA10.
This is what I say. I made a video where I say that I hate Make, but I was comparing with Pipedream. So yeah, I'm a developer, so it's also different for a non-developer. A lot of non-developers were in love with Make because they don't know the flexibility you can have with code, and they are afraid of code. Which is not, yes, it's stupid to be afraid of code, because you can generate it while you cannot generate the function from Make. The AI knows everything about JavaScript. So then I think then the open source thing, it's big, because for developers, or you are trying something, you don't have to pay. You just self-host it on a server that can cost you $5 a month, and you're good, and you can do everything. So that's a big one, because when I was with Pipedream, which is nice, but I wanted to make a voice agent, and I had a partner account with Pipedream. I was partner, but my partner account, if I activate the workflow, and I was needing to activate it because he was a voice agent, he was working with a webhook, etc. Immediately, I was paying with some things that I have to pay myself, while I just wanted to do a video. And that's how I said, okay, I'm going to turn to NA10, and then I never looked back. So I think, yes, the open source seduces everybody, the community. So it's what you learn in DevRel, basically. The DevRel, well done. We are here to help developers. But it's not the developers that give money, to the company. I read a book about DevRel, when I enter on that. I was explaining that at the end, the goal is the station. So the goal is the sale, is selling. Every company needs to make money, even NA10, while they want to sell the enterprise account. And the product is the train, okay? And the rails are the developers. And so I think this image was perfect, because finally DevRel, it's driving the product with the developer, but it's not driving by selling, and the sell is at the end, okay? And so if you have a good DevRel and you have open source, and people fall in love with the product. So then the enterprise owners will know about N8N and will want to use it, and they will pay the enterprise account. But because there is so much information for the developers that are in the company, everybody talks about it. So it makes the product go up, and then people buy it. If you want to sell directly to enterprise, you don't create awareness. You don't create all this party around the product that make it sell. And I think N8N has understands that super well. A good example that has succeed like that, and there is many similarities, is WordPress.
Right.
There's so much in common in the business model. What make WordPress is the community. People fall in love with the community. It's really community oriented. And then they have themes, and N8N has the templates. So it's the same. They have plugins, and N8N has the community nodes. And all that is open source, and everybody can participate. Now there is 7,000 templates in N8N for free. So that's huge too.
Yeah, you said some of these things are definitely resonating with what I think made N8N successful. And one of them is what you said before, which is the fact that you can easily self-host it. My N8N is running on my Raspberry 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a Raspberry 5 at home. I have too many Raspberries at home anyhow. But one is my main server where I have
Okay.
I even have some small LLMs, really tiny LLMs to do easy tasks. I go in that direction. I really love it. And this made me choose N8N because the idea of having it self-hosted and using my LLM without sending data to a provider or without maintaining a server that is somewhere in the world, that makes me really happy, and I have control on what I want to do. It's not a big deal that I need a server at home, because of course if something goes wrong and my internet connection isn't working, I can lose access. But this helps me to do so many things around N8N, because I can also enhance whatever I do with N8N with something that is coming from my server. I can create a webhook from a Python application and send it to N8N, and so far so on. This is actually what I do. So it's such a great addition to the things that I already do without adding too much complexity, because I'm a developer, and for me it's not a big deal to work with a tool like N8N. But I know that it has a great potential, because for instance, whenever I had to write something small, I think twice before working with Python. I'm like, maybe I can do it with N8N really easily, and I have it running on my machine. So now I have two paths for different tasks, and I'm like, okay, maybe I do this with Python or with N8N.
And you can mix them together with the webhooks and HTTP requests.
What is the most common scenario that you have to deal with your customers? Like when the average customer comes to you, the average client, what is the most common scenario? What are they looking for lately?
It depends. I didn't have so much, different clients and things, and I often attract uncommon people.
Yeah, or maybe what's the uncommon people are looking for?
They don't know. For example, now I work with the client is raising funds. We have to reach out to investors, so I'm going to search that information, about the right investor for this person. He came with a lot of databases, but finally I'm going to make a research about it and scrape their profile to know more about them before crafting message that I will not send directly, because it's eye touch thing. So that's something I'm doing. Then there is the people that don't know what they want or don't have the budget. Some people think it's cheap, and so that I'm not interested in. But I don't have so much that, I think, because I don't reflect that in my channel. But I know some people to reach. Oh, but you can do that in 1 hour. But I try to avoid this image, because that's not the reality. It's easy and fast. No, it's just another syntax, but it's engineering at the end. Yeah, I'm not sure about this question. I think the best is, for example, this woman that I reach out, I have a consulting tomorrow. She already knows more or less what she wants, but we are going to interview and go deeper to see, to make something really, really find the solution that she needs. And also, yes, the companies need to be data ready. If all the data is scattered everywhere, the first thing is to make one source of truth with the data, to make all that ready, and from there we can build up what they need, but some people can come and want something that is not appropriate. Also AI hype, and say, oh, I want to solve things with AI. So this is a red flag. That's not good. It's just a tool at the end. It's a great tool. It changes everything. As they say in YouTube, this changes everything. But you have to use it in the right way and when it's needed, because it's just spending money, losing time, and taking risk because it can be inaccurate.
How much is AI hype when you talk to someone? It doesn't matter if it's a customer, but someone who is kind of in contact with you because of your job. How much is AI hype and how much is, okay, I see the problem, we have to go in this direction, we take out the hype and we focus on the real automation part?
The people, in my case, not so much, because I don't think I attract these people that are in research of hype. Again, YouTube is very mysterious because you don't know what you project, you don't know what you attract exactly. So that's, but I don't think I attract that. I didn't have these people that want AI everywhere. Oh yes, I had a guy once, he wanted to make sales and everything should be done with AI, absolutely everything. So he had to do, he want to build something, he want me to teach him, etc. And yes, red flag. I didn't continue because I felt that it was not the guy was not realistic. So yeah, I had one demand like that. Then in the one thing I realized also is we are in a microcosm. We are into AI. We breathe that and eat that every day and talk about that online, everywhere, etc. And we are aware of everything what is happening, and we are overwhelmed because there is so much things happening. But in the normal world, when I was with my friend, we are creating a SaaS for movie production. She's a production manager. She just knows ChatGPT. Okay, she even don't know about Claude, so she want to learn, etc. And she's not somebody living, in a hut in the country without culture, etc. She's a production manager. And when I go to my friends who are not into tech, many of them don't know a lot. People know ChatGPT. And the majority of people, that's all, but we don't realize because we are in a microcosm.
This is deep. I say this very often. I felt like I was like hearing myself because I say this so often, especially when I go to conferences, like go out from your bubble, because you're looking at too many details about this AI hype, whatever is happening, about this AI, this new AI world. We look at so many details, we know everything about it, as you said, but we need to go out from our bubble, because when you go out and you talk to someone who is not a software engineer or AI engineer, as we say now, we realize that these people, they don't know nothing about this field, and they are so behind, and they're like, okay, I only know that I can generate text or maybe code with this thing, but nothing more. And even giving them a small taste of what is actually possible is opening a world in their mind. But yeah, we take so many things for granted because we think that everyone knows about what we see every day, but it's not true. And it's also difficult to communicate, because I see that also when someone comes to me saying, hey, I want to do this, maybe they heard something somewhere and this idea started creating a huge castle in their mind, and they come to me with the solution, with the problem, but already the solution in their mind. And I'm like, wait, let's design this together. I don't know if you had this feeling.
Yeah, no, that's what happened in many cases. And we have to be doctors and not drug dealers.
Yeah,
and
right.
So we have to diagnose what they need and not just giving them the solutions that they think they want because it's high, because, oh, I want an agent that is going to do that and that. No, first let's investigate what you need and let's see if we need this tool or not, or if it's a different tool that you need. But yeah, that's the thing. We are in the Wild West now.
We are. I totally agree. We're in the Wild West, and some of these things will probably, many of the projects that we see now will probably fail at some point, because now it's an explosion of everything.
I heard.
Some of some of these projects will not survive.
I heard somebody told me lastly that 85% of the solution implemented in company are breaking now. Because what is happening in many groups, etc., they teach you have to sell even if you don't know how to build. And there is a lot of people that come from business that are selling, selling, selling. And when you're at tech, it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
But then they don't know how to build, and then they hire cheap people to do that. And that's very bad because then these companies have a bad image of AI. And so when this wave is going to go, then the real people that do real things will stay.
Yeah, right.
But now we have all this hype, and it's the Wild West, and some schools and things that are finally selling shovels, for the gold rush, etc. And so, no, you don't have to code, you just have to sell. There is a part which is true for technical people like me, because we had to learn how to sell, but you need almost a minimum of technical knowledge, even if you are not going to build it yourself. You need to have your back assured, because if not, you're going to sell something. It's okay if it's a small thing because you will find people to buy, but you can sell something big and say, okay, and price it, and then realize that it's so much underpriced, that it's very complex, and you need people, and then you are going to hire people that are cheap because you don't have the money, and the thing will break because you didn't know what you sell. And I think that happens a lot.
You're reading the situation very well, apparently. I see it as well. I have something in my mind which is essentially coming from something that I saw when I was in Porto at a conference, and someone approached me and they wanted to ask me an advice. They wanted an advice about their project. These people were working with NA10, and they had this huge NA10 workflow. It was insane how many nodes they had in it. And when I looked at it, I spotted two things very, very quick. The first one was that, in my opinion, that was huge. Maybe they could have easily split that workflow in multiple parts anyhow. But the second thing was that they were using too many agents.
Oh, yeah.
They were overusing the LLMs, and some of those tasks could have easily implemented with a normal node or maybe with a JavaScript node, but not with an agent, not with an LLM. And I don't even want to say agent because they were not really using agentic AI, but they were not even using tools. They were just using LLMs. And the first thing that I said, there was like, this part is a black box for you. You don't know what you're gonna get out of these agents, as you call them, these LLMs. And maybe if you already know the rule, if you already know the function, you don't want to infer the function with a black box. Maybe you can just write the function yourself. And the interesting thing is that these people, they were not developers. They didn't have a lot of experience in the software engineering field, and for them it was easy to throw an LLM into the flow and write a prompt, even though they had to create so many rules to deal with the output of that node because the output was fuzzy. But they were overusing these agents and these LLMs. Do you see this? Because I see this very often, especially with and all these tools that give you the possibility to easily add an agent to the workflow.
Again, it's a hype. You see agents everywhere, so they feel magical. So if you are not instructed, of course you want an agent because you think, I'm going to give everything to this agent. He's going to do everything, and I go drink margaritas on the beach. That's the thing. And it feels magical when you discover it. But at the end, the prompt becomes more complicated than writing code to make it work properly with many rules. And they didn't realize that, and that is going to cost tokens, and that is going to bring latency, and especially that it can be not accurate. The more they have tools and the more things the agent is doing. And what I explain always, it's why do you want to give the AI the power to decide that you can decide yourself? So just let it this flexibility, what is not other possibilities. So when it's a chat agent or voice agent, of course, there is too much fluidity and the context, it's so variable that you need an agent that understands the context and then decide what to do based on this context. But as in this context, these tools, you need to drive them as much as possible. Make the tools can be a workflow. And so you have to think ahead, and there is different patterns also in workflows. The agentic workflow, yes, but not an agent is the last one. Is the last recourse at the end. The problem is people see it as the easy path, as the best path. First, it's magical, so it's exciting, and also they think, oh, I do that and I just write a prompt that it works, because they don't know how to code. So they think writing is easier, but it's not easier. It's also engineering, and it's more complicated because you have to test a lot to see if it works right. While the code, if you have it right first, it can be generated, and that's very easy. And then it works the same way each time. But it's not people that are to blame, because people don't know. If they are not working in the field and they have not an engineering background, they don't know. It's all the hype. And on YouTube, we even put build an AI agent instead of putting I build a workflow, because it's more sexy and it attracts more clicks.
Yes.
But then, yes, you show the reality on the screen, but that's all the crazy. It's insane. It changed everything. We are all cooked. all these sentences. So yes, we have to re-educate people so they understand. But yeah,
I usually say that this was also happening with the dawn of machine learning technologies and deep learning, and people were trying to overusing it as well.
Okay.
I remember when I started working in the field, a lot of companies were trying to get into the machine learning field, deep learning, say that they were using AI technologies, these advanced statistics technologies. Instead, many of them, they didn't really need it. They you don't need something that is not deterministic if you know what you need, right?
Exactly.
As you said, if you know exactly what you need, don't let a not deterministic unit deal with it. Do it yourself. If you know the function, just write it.
Yeah.
And it was also happening before, but then at some point, the hype went down and only the good projects stayed. Now, I think it's a bit different. The magnitude of what is happening is definitely bigger.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to use these technologies.
Yes, not everybody can use machine learning. It's much more complex.
Yeah.
While using an LLM and putting a node and writing a prompt, everybody can do it, or think they can do it.
Yeah, it's more accessible, so they just try. You mentioned that you're also a YouTuber, if you can say that, or a content creator.
Yeah.
How is creating content for YouTube? And I'm asking this question not because this podcast is about being a YouTuber, but because creating content out of a technical knowledge, I think it's complex. I do often when I go to conferences or when I create courses, and even though I can say that I have experience, it's complex. It takes so much time to break down something and create a video or an article that is giving something to someone else. How is your experience? How are you dealing with it?
It's hard. It's very hard. But for me, what is really hard is not so much breaking the concept. I think that's something I discover I'm good at. I taking something complex and explaining it without going too much details for beginners, because this is not who I am, let's say. But it's because people tell me, that I simplify this complexity, in my videos. But the part where I show the workflow and the work truth, for me, is the easy part. The hard part for me, but it's not the same for everybody. And that's why my YouTube channel is working well, but it's not exploding. It's all the packaging. So you need the title, the thumbnail, the script, retain attention, and that turned me crazy. So now I'm hiring somebody to do that. I just want to build the thing, break it, and showing that to the screen. But because at the end we have to optimize for the masses, and so people stay, and then the algorithm is happy because people click and stay, and then it's going to promote you, and then it will find your real public. So people tell me love my content, but the algorithm is not helping me so much. The algorithm wants the clickbait, and so that's the thing. But I cannot complain. It becomes very fast for me thanks to and then much more creators enter in the game, and then it starts slow down, and then it becomes frustrating. And what is hard too is you have to feed the beast. every week, you know.
Yeah.
That's slavery sometimes, to be honest.
We kind of have the same problem with the My Data guess. It's not that we care too much about YouTube. We are mostly working with Substack, and yeah, we have our small community on Substack, but we use YouTube. We try to post everything on YouTube as well. And I see that when you write, I don't want to say clickbait contents, but because if I write something about an LLM, it's not really clickbait, but the algorithm thinks that it's clickbait. And those contents are working really, really well. I'm like, come on. I mean, maybe we spend 2 minutes on that content.
Is that frustrating?
And then you have some other interviews that are like great, and they don't have enough views simply because you didn't write anything clickbait in the thumbnail or the title. This is insane.
Yeah.
And we are not those kind of people. I feel you. I mean, I don't know what to do when this happens. I'm like, come on, I have my job. That's too complex.
Yeah, I made not my last video, but the one before. I passed 4 days. I built a chat with WhatsApp and the Evolution API, but that was deterministic because I was using a state machine. I built a state machine with the tables, etc., and just using the LLM to extract the data. Because if we do that, for example, for an insurance company, it's always the same question. So we just want it to be fast and to be precise. And then I can take that and make an agent. And so it was very interesting because the logic was complex, with the states machine, etc. But once you have done that and you want to make it as an agent, you understand really deeply all the logic and all the branches of the conversation. So it was very interesting. It took me time. And then I wanted this video to succeed. So I passed extra time also on the editing and everything. This video has 300 views. And I was so upset. And the one before, where I just explained that the title is No Approval, because I use this Evolution API, so you don't need the meta approval. This one has 1,300 views, and yes, the day I post one because it's a new feature about NA10s, MCP access, but honestly, it's not my best video. I did it fast. I said, okay, I can get views because it's just out, but it's not the video I'm proud of. What I'm really building something valuable and interesting, and this one is going up faster. It's frustrating when you want to do really quality, but the algorithm is not what it watch first.
All right. This is super interesting for me because this world is really tough. Whenever you touch YouTube, these algorithms, it's really tough.
Yeah, and people say me, I love your content, etc., and that's nice, but it doesn't have the reach that I would like it to have. And that for me is the hard part. It's not the technical part, etc. It's what I call the packaging.
All right. So to wrap up this episode, I would like to ask you, what do you want to do next? Either what's your wish in terms of project? What would you like to do? Or if you already have something in I don't know, something you're gonna build. What's
next? The goal for me would be to build small SaaS applications. Not the big company thing, etc. I want to be an unicorn. No, because I as a solopreneur or just a small team, creating things. I'm a creative, so that's always what I wanted. I cannot focus 100% on that because I need clients and things, and you are not always sure that an application will succeed. It's the Peter Levels model. This is my North Star, let's say, the Hindi hacker way. That's what I love to do, building stuff and talking with people, helping people so it can be in a community. So now I'm in this community, early AI adopters, which is the best one I think out there. It's amazing. And so I'm do the live builds, and I love to interact with people and all that because I'm a people person. So balancing my time between these two things, creating, building, but real interaction, not marketing interaction, social media. I have to do social media, but I don't like it because again, it's an algorithm. It's not human. It's not real human interaction, but I love real interaction and networking. And I'm more about, if I teach, I'm more about the live than the pre-recorded thing. It's totally different. You're in contact with people and you do the things live. I like that. Yeah, that would say my ideal life would be the morning I'm building for almost 4 or 5 hours, something like that, and the rest of the time I'm talking with people. That would be my
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's
I
not bad at
almost
all.
I know what I want. It will happen.
Yeah.
And working with clients is nice when the projects are nice because you are building stuff. But building my own product is better because you are the master of everything. You don't, well, the market decide, but you don't have a client that say, oh, I want that. And a client can become sort of boss to and own you. And I don't want to be owned by anybody.
All right. Thank you. We hope to see more content for you. From you, and we will stay in touch. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the insights. Maybe next year we're gonna record another episode. Maybe you're gonna show us something
Yeah, the products that I'm making.
about anything, or maybe your products.
Yeah,
That would be great.
So. I hope so.
Yeah, that would be great. You will definitely be invited again.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for your time, Alexandra. Thanks
for having me, and have a nice evening.
Thank you.